Yeah, hey coach. I know, it feels like you guys just played Missouri a little while ago. Just looking back on that, what can you do really to just kind of right some wrongs that you had in that game?
Well, honestly, I think we're playing a lot better basketball. And I think my team, if you go back and look at that game to our most recent game, we're a totally different team. I think there was, we weren't playing our best. We had that, January lull after Christmas, and we kind of fell into that. And I didn't think we were playing good basketball on either end of the floor. I think we're playing harder. I think we're playing smarter. I think we're executing our offense better and guarding better than we had at that point in time.
And just after a chance to get to look at the film from Sunday's game, what did you what did you I obviously you would have loved to have gotten the win, but what did you see out of your team's performance that you think can continue on into this week?
I think obviously Kentucky's a really good team. Key came back and she hadn't played in a handful of games because of an injury. And so for her to come back and start against us, that's just, she's a phenomenal big in the league. And so that definitely changed the dynamic. But I thought for my team to be able to execute, we came out, we stuck to the game plan. We really tried to get paint touches and spray the basketball for some three balls, and we were able to do that. And then considering we were at a huge size disadvantage, I thought we guarded and stuck to the game plan very well. We got in a little bit of foul trouble in that third quarter, and with about 2:50 left to go, there was a crucial swing when we gave up some offensive rebounds that really deflated us, in my opinion. So, again, putting 40 minutes together is crucial, but I think we're getting closer and closer to that breakthrough, to that moment where we're getting to where we are going to be able to do that.
All right, thank you, coach.
Dudley.
Hey, Coach. First off, thanks for doing this.
Absolutely.
I'm my wife. I have a story. My wife passed away when she was 40 from breast cancer. This obviously, is a meaningful game for y'all. Talk a little bit about how the women's game does such a great job of honoring things like this.
I think they do. I think that they take heed to the things that like for instance, play for Pat and or we back Pat and the play for Kay. Those moments and those games that really add value to the women's game, and those the coaches that have went before us that have been such a strong foundation layer and such just grassroots and helping us move forward in the women's game. I think it's definitely important. And I think I respect the fact that the women's game still does that. I had an opportunity to meet Kay Yow, and one of her, I was coaching at Fresno State, and it was like a regional at Fresno, and Kay Yow was still coaching. She was battling cancer, and she was going through treatments. And I remember it was such an honor for me just to be able to meet her. And her sister coached at ORU, and so she spoke at one of my events at ORU. So it's kind of neat to have that little bit of a connection. But like you said, it's personal for you. It's very personal for me. My family's went through a lot of cancer. My sister was diagnosed at 31, and thankfully, God willing, she's a breast cancer survivor. And both my grandmas, my aunt. So there's a lot of breast cancer in my family, my cousin.
Obviously, the big thing is to win basketball games and all that. But talk about also being a role model for your young ladies and not only out there on the court but in life.
I think it's important. That's one of our culture. The biggest thing I felt like in this first season was establishing culture and helping our players realize that our pillars, faith, family, and fearless, were extremely important, and to change the way that we approached games, the way we approached, just all of Arkansas women's basketball, and the way we are going to lay that foundation and that culture piece. But I think, you know, a lot of my locker room talks and a lot of things that I say in practice, it matters because it's not just about right now. You're right. I want to win games more than anybody. I'm overly competitive, or I want to do what I do, but at the same time, helping them to where they'll 5 to 10 years from now look back, and maybe something that I said now, it doesn't resonate till 5, 10 years from now, but helping them be better young women on and off the floor in all aspects of their life, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, in all aspects. I want them to grow. I want them to look back and be like, now I get what she was talking about, or in that moment she did help me. And it's about growing strong young women for the future. Um, Also growing them on the basketball court. But like I said, growing them for that next chapter in their life. They're not all going to play basketball forever, but what are they going to do next? And if I can have a small piece of helping them be more prepared for the world, then I've done my job.
Obviously, your team's continuing to fight. Is it, if it's before we see out on the court, what's going to be the maybe one key thing to get them over the top and get a win and maybe get a streak going?
I think the biggest thing is 40 minutes. I think we've had some lulls. I think we've gotten closer. We've played 30 minutes. We played, 32 minutes, but we've got to put a 40-minute game together where we have no setbacks. We don't have a 2 to 3 minute span where we don't cover or we're not scoring. And so I think just really staying focused for that 40 minutes. We got to continue to make shots. I think our offense has gotten better and better in the last couple of weeks. It's been a huge focus, but really being able to get big stops when necessary, and just continuing to believe that that breakthrough is about to happen. We've been preaching about it, but just believing that that breakthrough is coming, and we have to put our best foot forward for 40 minutes in order to get that done.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Ethan?
Hey Kelsey, I'm sorry I hopped on a little bit late, so you might have already talked a lot about Mizzou, but I just wanted to ask specifically with them. I know the last time you played, they shot near 50% from 3 point. Just how do y'all maybe learn from that past game and how y'all, guard the perimeter?
Definitely transition. Obviously, getting that transition defense back and covering wide because of their shooters. And I think making sure we put some pressure on the basketball in certain situations when certain people do have the basketball. We obviously have to contain the lane lines. They've got some really good straight line drivers. They're a very well-rounded team. They're really good. They played really well against us the last time we played them at their place. But I believe that we have to play for 40 minutes. We can't, like I said, we can't have those lulls. We can't have those mishaps, but we have to guard better, and especially the 3 point line while containing the lane lines is going to be key.
Yeah, and then you mentioned earlier like the foul trouble that kind of shifted the momentum of the Kentucky game. It's kind of same thing happened. It felt like at Missouri whenever Ash got in a little bit of foul trouble. Like it seems like that's kind of a thing for her where it's hard to stay out of foul trouble. How have y'all worked on just kind of I don't know, staying in the game to where she's not picking up those fouls?
Yeah, I think she just has to be more conscious. I think we've been talking about it and just being more aware. She can't, especially cheap fouls. We don't have time for her to get a cheap foul. I mean, it's different if she's rotating and she's late or whatnot. But at the end of the day, we got to keep her on the floor. She's been doing such a good job for us of getting in the right spots offensively, scoring when necessary, rebounding, and then doing a good job of guarding. So we just got to make sure that we try to keep her in the right spots for rotations to keep her out of foul trouble.
And then obviously Missouri picked up a big win over the weekend too. What are they doing well right now to help them kind of progress the same way y'all have progressed some?
I think they're executing, they're shooting it better. I think they're executing their offense at a really high rate. But I think by the way that they're mixing up their defenses, it's definitely allowed them to be more successful. I think primarily in the past they ran, prior to conference play, they ran a lot more man, but I think they're really doing a good job of mixing up their zones and trying to confuse people and keep people kind of off balance. And so I think that's one thing, in my opinion, that's really helped them. And again, they're playing with confidence. They're really starting to gel and play together. And she's got some players back off some injury, which that helps with their depth. So they're doing a really good job right now.
That's all I got. Thank you.
Brett?
Kelsi, on those stretches where you've played better longer and you've executed offensively, I'm curious what you'd attribute them to. If it's an extra pass, it's better ball movement, it's finding the open shooter, it's making the right cut. If you had to kind of rank, or maybe a couple of those that have been most important in those stretches where you have executed really well offensively.
I think honestly, it's when we've gotten more paint touches, shifting the ball from side to side and really spraying it out for either that three or that next attack. That's something we've really focused on the last couple of weeks in practice. I felt like when we went through that lull where we weren't playing very well, we really tried to just really focus in on things that we could control and we could get better at. And running our offense more efficiently was something that was a glaring problem at that moment. And I think we've really honed it in. We've really focused on that in practice, by some different drills and some different breakdown situations that we put them in. And I think it's really starting to register. It's like the light bulb's starting to come on, that when we can shift it, showing them a lot of film. We've been showing them a lot of film, and hey, these are the really good clips. Look at these. These aren't such good clips. So you help them. But I think, like I said, getting it at least from side to side once, getting those paint touches and being able to share the ball at a higher rate. Our assist ratio's gone up, and that's a huge testament to the fact that we are shifting the basketball and sharing it at a better rate.
It would seem like your players would start to buy in when they see more success. And at the same time, when you get close and you don't get over the hump, it's a little bit of a kick down too. So how do you kind of balance the more belief, but still the frustration of wanting more minutes or a longer stretch?
Just staying the course. I keep telling them all the time, you got to stay the course. It's a process, and nothing, most good things in life take time, and you got to get through this bad. But we are getting closer. I keep refocusing on that breakthrough. I keep telling them the breakthrough's coming, but you got to stay the course. You got to keep believing, and you got to stay together. The teams that have that breakthrough stay together. And then, I always say stay together, play together, and win together. And that win is going to come if we continue to grow, stay together. We focus on the positives. I think we try to find the positives because it's necessary for them. But then here are the things that are fixable. We got to fix X, Y, and Z. And if we do that, we're right where we need to be. So I think, like you said, playing with these top 25 teams, we haven't got over the hump, but if you actually watch the entire game, it's closer than sometimes what the final score is showing. And so I think that focusing on those positives is going to help us push through.